And I don't know where that went. Sorry.
Well, you mentioned Austin earlier, and it's irony there because he would not want that to be part of his legacy. You know, the one who originally started on it, he would be rolling over his grave.
Lou Lawson. Is it? Yeah, okay, yeah.
We should put a turbine on him.
So, that's it. We are welcome, to take any questions to any one of us. I probably can't answer much. I definitely want to hear your concerns. We're going to be writing them down. Yes.
I mean, the really isn't the question, how do we fight this?
Right.
How can we stop them? Is it through zoning? Is it through, is
Mark, do you want
can Hampshire County get involved if it's private property? Does the resort not understand that people come to them for the views and for the water that they're gonna damage? What do we do?
The county commission, so you got 3 county commissioners, right? And everybody probably knows who they are. You can find out who they are. But they're all very reasonable people. And I say we, but we had this big concern about this Ben Haynes property outside of Capon Spring or Capon Bridge. And people got very agitated, still are very agitated about it. And the county commission and the planning commission got very involved in it and actually implemented some changes to what's called the SALDO, or the Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance. And they're better than nothing. They're not perfect. They're not absolutely going to stop it, but basically they require some setbacks for solar panels from the road, or from the property boundary, excuse me, and also some screening, vegetative or otherwise. They did not address wind. I'm not going to presume, at least in public, to say why they didn't, but they did. So my first advice to you on your question would be get very involved very quickly with the county commissioners and with the planning commission. They're here, they're local, they'll listen. I was told during the solar industrial stuff that, hey, we haven't heard from anybody but Capon Bridge and Romney about this. So, that's one of the reasons supposedly they did not address wind. They didn't hear from anybody up here. And as Jacob pointed out, apparently nobody knew about it up here. So everybody probably has their own way of contacting the county commissioners and the planning commission. Rolf Ronken is the chair of the planning commission. So many of you
That
probably.
is definitely one thing Linda was going to talk about
Yeah.
and bring up. She's been probably the #1 resource for Short Mountain. She lives down there and helping the community with that type of outreach. So, whether we have, we'll put that information out there. Linda was key on that, and that's what she put in.
Yeah.
Isn't the best chance at the national level if the Trump administration cuts out these subsidies? There would be no
It's
project.
game over for this.
Right, it's game over.
Done.
So
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
get our senators, our representatives
Yeah.
to get the Trump administration to, and I think he said it, hasn't he? Wasn't that what he said?
He said some words about wind, to be sure. I've never heard about solar.
Offshore.
Mainly, particularly offshore, right.
Yeah.
But he does not seem, he seems to have a special place in his heart, not for wind. The other thing, so kind of going up the chain here real quickly, the other thing is at the state level, and the Short Mountain people got quite involved in this, at the state level, the wind industry and the solar industry tried to get legislation passed to override any local controls on these. They failed the last time by 1 vote. That was in 2022, I believe. So you all need to, I guess everybody, I think Darren Thorne is the delegate from this area, right?
Yeah.
Talk to Darren about this.
On that, Darren, I did reach out to him. They couldn't be here. They were in cattle. He did say they wanted to come. His wife, who's on Facebook, is in our group. So they're paying attention. So that's key. Same thing with Logan Vance. They're both paying attention. They both are telling us at least that they care. And they're,
Oh.
we'll see what that means, but I mean, they're aware. But it's, like I said, it's gonna take an incredible amount of, effort on our part to make people care, to make them care.
And the other thing is, I guess it's our United States representative from this area. It's is it Carol Miller? No, who is it? Moose?
He's outgoing,
Yeah,
and
Moose.
incoming is,
Running
Riley
more.
Moore.
Yes, all right, talk to them. All right, both about this particular situation and, you know, about renewables in general. I think there's a rather amazing amount of, in both parties, lack of knowledge and understanding of what, you know, a lot of members of Congress saying, hey, this stuff's great, and my district's getting money for it. This is great, it's all good. Tell them no, that's not true. And then finally, your senators. They should hear about this too, United States senators, and your senator in the legislature. So all of those things, you need to hit those spots.
Yeah, that's on the regulatory front, but
Yeah.
then there's also this idea that we don't really know exactly what's in the lease. So right now there's a memorandum of the lease, so we know it exists and that it contains a few things. But it may be that the lease is contingent and that they, you know, could be pressured to get out of it. So, you know, there's two basic choke points, regulatory and the private, and we have to look at where those go and try and push towards them.
No, what do you want?
AJ?
Yes.
I'm vice president for the Phoenix Springs Hunt Club, and they brought this to us.
Okay.
They said there had to be a burden back study done, and a proposal that we were told that they are to bring these things in out of the national forest.
Okay.
And they said they could, but they'd have to straighten that whole road.
Right.
And when they were done, it had to be
Right.
put back exactly.
Exactly.
Good luck,
So there's 50-year-old trees that come down.
But that might be another way to fight this thing too.
Right.
For the next Forest Service.
Yeah, and the bird and bat and the other wildlife thing, I still think there's ways. I mean, I just say 2 weeks. 2 weeks is not a lot of time to really figure a lot out. There are people here and there are people that weren't able to make it that care a lot. So we're going to ask for help wherever we can. And if you can offer that help, let us know. It's going to be writing letters. It's going to be, you know, where the project one day finally gets posted in the newspaper. It might be, you know, certain fonts and certain size, and you have 30 days to object, and it'll magically appear on the commission, you know, website. Like there's a lot to it, but
The project manager met with me here, and he said they have no set direction yet. He could be lying.
Henry, you had just
There's no
mentioned
set
something to me.
Yeah.
You just mentioned something to me. I'm totally just.
Yeah, Hampshire Review will take your op-ed
Oh.
anytime.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, right now, you guys saw the article in the Hampshire Review. Looked, if I could call it biased, but it looked pretty, you know,
Rosie.
more or less, yeah, rosy. Okay.
The Hampshire Review article throws it in our face that this should be no surprise. We've known for
Right.
3 years. If anybody goes back and reads the article, it doesn't mention wind turbines. It says windmills, and they did not accidentally use the word windmills, because windmills makes everybody think of a cute little structure in Denmark that's spinning around and churning butter.
Well, and
That's why they use the word
back
windmill.
when this came out, a windmill was put up there to test.
Do a Google
For
search, a
wind.
windmill and a wind turbine.
So there was
are
a
not the
connection
same
here
thing.
that these windmills might be what's up there, right? No, it's a great point. I don't know what size it is up there, but it's.
You know, and they conveniently slipped it in at
Right.
Christmas time in 2021, when
It,
people were
oh,
busy.
yes. I mean, for the most part, no one saw an article and.
Yeah, a little
Listen,
article that
very,
might say
very
resort considers windmills was the
Yeah.
title of a small little article.
Yeah, I contacted them about this and about using that article, and I know they were contacted by the resort or CPB, and they were on board with kind of like maybe defending themselves to a degree that this is no secret. I mean, what do you mean this is no secret? Again, but 90% of the people on our Facebook poll and the majority of the people in this room did not know, and that to me that's secret enough. So,
90% of the people that live in Romney think the county ends at Capon Bridge, so that tells you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very true. Are there
um,
any lawyers that have been consulted or anything about it from any angle where there's a discrepancy
No, but
There's
we're
zero
gonna,
on
yeah,
to
no.
attack.
Linda
Yeah.
did have some names, right?
What's that?
Linda did have some names.
Yeah, Linda-
So in her presentation, I think they may even be included,
Yeah,
which you'll put up
correct.
for everybody.
So Mark, right, we're gonna be able to post your presentation in like a digital format. We have the recording, what Linda was gonna present, we'll put up there. So, and like I said, we'll try to keep some, I mean, I don't wanna like just overwhelm the Facebook page with lots of stuff and posts and then comments. We'll find a way that we can present this information. It might just be a website or some other format where this is available, where people can stay updated specifically on this issue. The idea with the Facebook group is that it's not just this issue, so.
There was a sign-in sheet going around, I think, right?
Yeah, there's a sign-in sheet here. We definitely would love everyone to sign it. And if you're interested, we'll check email.
Yeah.
You put your email on here. So this need to go anywhere?
Here.
Okay.
In your Facebook post, you post places that, you know, there's some names mentioned that I don't know that we can outreach to, put up in your Facebook.
Commissioners,
Yeah.
senators,
Contact info.
state representatives.
People, you know.
Yeah.
I was wondering about adding, some Virginia legislators.
Okay.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, they pretty much are probably completely in the dark on this. And because my assumption is that there's been no coverage on it. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
I spoke to someone last night from Star Henry, and he had just gotten it. Somebody had a sign on that way
Okay,
for this meeting.
yeah, okay.
And he had a picture of it. Maybe he's your son.
Oh, let me stay.
I thought that's what he was saying. Okay.
I'm Mike Barnett, and I bring you glad tidings and greetings from beautiful downtown Mount Falls, Virginia. So, in case anybody doesn't know, we're basically straight across the mountain. Actually, my house is directly across from the entrance to Mount Falls Park and or Wild Acres. I didn't know about this till one of our local Mountain Falls Facebook groups, thank you very much, had shared this. Really, and I don't think anybody in Frederick County knows. There are a lot of people that do not know. What I'm planning on doing myself. There were a couple other cars out there. Who else is here from across the hill? Okay.
I'm from a lot of crosses.
Yeah. Our local Virginia House of Delegates representative, who is a man by the name of Bill Wiley, I'm going to contact him, plus our House of Representatives rep, and his name is Ben Klein. I don't know what exposure across the mountains in Frederick County or what it's going to do as far as helping to stop this. I had a friend of mine at church, and we attend Restoration Fellowship in Strasburg, where the three big crosses are, that had told me these windmills can affect general communication, 911 communication. That'd be something else for you to research. It would be nice if I could get somebody, I'm not really a very good writer, to compose a letter to the editor, which I would turn into the Winchester Evening Star plus the Northern Virginia Daily.
Okay.
And that'd be fantastic. Man, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank you everyone for helping. I mean, there are some people that have got me into other groups or let me aware, so that's been key of just getting the word out there. I've gotten a lot of support behind this, getting the word out essentially. We'll have things, whether it's letters that can be downloaded, kind of like blanket, or things. So I think we're going to work towards having all that information. So just to make that easier, for sure.
Thank you, Jacob. Keep that energy up.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, for the most part, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'll be honest. I have people in my family that obviously know who's running, who's been elected, who hasn't. We've been But I'm motivated and won't give up the fight. So we're gonna keep it going, that's all.
So, one thing about these elected officials, we are having a big turnover, we're getting a new senator, Senator Justice, we're getting a new congressman, we're getting 2 new commissioners most likely in the next couple weeks, so the only incumbent that's gonna be there is Brian Eglinger. David Cannon may be moving on to another position. There's a lot of changes going on in Hampshire County and in West Virginia. We're gonna have the 2 lowest seniority West Virginia senators in the state of the 34, because Charlie Trump has resigned. We're in the process of selecting someone to take his place. And also Tom Willis, who is a very sharp guy. And he's the new senator, he's from Berkeley County. The senator that we're gonna pick to replace Trump will be either from Morgan County or from Hampshire County. So I'm not gonna get into names of anybody because that'll be coming out in the next 10 days.
Okay.
Senator Willis attended a meeting we had at the Hampshire County High in Romney. This was back several months ago. And then all the commissioners were there also. But anyway, he was very clear, he does not like this stuff. He said at that point, this before he was elected, that he intended to introduce some legislation.
Good.
So he would be a good one to contact.
And that was solar.
That was solar, but I think it's renewable.
One good thing we have, we're getting a new governor, Patrick Morrison. I think he will also be an advocate for us
Yes.
in that regard.
Yeah, so, yes, it's hard. Don't just rely on Jacob, not to say he's not reliable, but he's gonna need a lot of help. It takes an army to do this.
Mark, can you summarize how the short mountain turbines, or where they are now, and how they ended up getting set back?
Well, Hardy County is one of the 6 or 7 counties in West Virginia that actually has zoning. So they were able, the county, able to say in essence, no. So that's why, part of the reason why the wind industry went around and went up to the legislature and tried to get local control taken away. So they could override that zone. All right, so that's where things stand now. The county has said no. The wind, that project is for now until some action presumably would happen in the state or something changed the county's mind. That project is kind of dead. I mean, that's the wrong word, but it's in stasis right now. It's not going to happen unless something changes.
And I know Linda was worried that when the legislative session
Yeah.
came back in, it could be basically buried in any piece of legislation too.
Yeah, that's right.
So Steve Wendelin mentioned a woman who was part of that fight. It was pretty.
Melissa Scott.
Yeah,
She's the
pretty
county planner.
impressive.
Very, yes, smart, active. She told me she's not going to have as much time this year to devote to that, but she's her heart's in it. Yes.
We got any other comments, questions?
What about the Forest Service road? Does the Forest Service have any, I mean, that's national property. I couldn't go in and just tear up the road.
Yeah, we live across from Darren and Michelle out in Hawks Nest for a weekend place. And having worked for the Forest Service before as a volunteer, there would be a public comment period to do that. And they have environmental regulations that they're responsible to follow. I can't say how effective those comment periods are, but I do know that they're required to do that. So there is an avenue there to both challenge and ensure that what the claims are being made for the road are complied with. And I looked for it briefly. I didn't see anything out there at this time.
Yeah.
I'm sure the folks at the Lee District office in Edinburgh would be able to explain whether or not they've been touched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's that possibility, and that's what they've said. But when Jake from CPV met with Gerald, he said they don't know yet.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a backup plan. And,
That's conditional
That's
because
gonna be the most feasible way for them to even do anything.
It almost
currently they can't make the turn down the bottom of the hill.
Right.
There are issues about them coming over the mountain from Virginia.
Yeah.
Right.
And one other thing is that there was a Winchester Star article a few months back, maybe 6 months back, that just briefly summarized this.
Okay.
And I thought I'd seen it reposted recently.
There was, I saw an article from Winchester Star.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was
It's
in
out
content.
there,
Yeah.
it's just,
Okay.
it was very conditional and not yet, sort of, was the bottom line of that.
Okay.
Didn't
There are
sound
some
nearly like-
people that I go to church with that are from Wardensville that did not know. It's just amazing.
I guess the last thing I'd say is that the 37,000 homes is one metric, but based on the number I found for the number of data centers turned on last year and the power requirements, it's like, and the number you came up with, 2 data centers, or it's 2.5 buildings. That's where the real power growth seems to be based on other stuff I see out there.
We were down resting at my sister-in-law's last night, so we drove back 66 today. And since I was down there last August, there's 4 new ones. They're coming out in Prince William County and wanting to extend to Fauquier, and there's talk about building 1 or 2 of them in the Winchester area.
They've already started the ones in Winchester.
Yeah, yeah.
If anybody knows where Carper's Pike Golf, or the old Carper's Golf Club used to be out on 50 up on the hill, up there is where they've started building the data centers. And I only know because my son works for them.
But as far as the logistics, them having a road coming in, if anybody's ever walked or hiked from out on 55 out through National Forest over to Eagle Rock, it's about 4 miles, and there is no way to put a straight road through there without doing corridor H style construction. It is not even slightly passable. The first quarter mile, they hit a turn that a turbine can't make.
Yeah.
And if they come over from the Virginia side, people will lose homes. No ifs, ands, or buts.
So Sarah this morning just did an internet search of wind turbine fails, and it's pretty. I mean, you'll see. Just do a little search, and you'll see. But one of them is one of these things rolling over as they try to go around these turns, and
So you can tell by the trucks that's overseas. They'll come with the 200-foot trailers that have the completely autonomous back end.
right, and it's moving.
It's just,
And I've seen it go through cities that way, and up and
they
over
can't make
buildings.
turns like that.
I saw them coming up corridor, it was in the middle of the night when they were putting in corridor H, those big, huge concrete pieces, or not concrete, but the metal pieces, they were hauling in one of those trailers, and there was like those little ones that ain't just go, I guess what they call autonomous. But anyway, they were behind them, and I watched them come around up 259, come around that turn and come up that road. That was crazy. Like they blocked traffic coming down 50 for a while to get each one of them around that turn.
Right.
Yep. And those blades are probably small compared to the ones.
Yes.
That's
That's what I was gonna
old
say.
style.
Yes.
They would have to be in multiple sections, wouldn't they? Being that
No,
way.
they have to be one piece.
Anxiety, anger, stress,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a resident here, but I already have all that stuff. Every time I hear about this, I get super angry, I get super stressed out, causes anxieties. They say you're losing value to your property, it causes anxiety, So there's also a health issue to the community out here.
I think nature, we do have a lot of migratory birds that do come into this area. There is a lot of wildlife.
Yeah.
If you, just on that, what happens to bats because they don't have much mass? When these blades have a tip speed of well over 100 miles an hour, and behind them it's like a vacuum, all right? So low pressure. When a bat goes through that, the bat will explode basically it's not like they have to hit the blade or anything, they just have to go through the wake of that blade, and they'll blow up because the implode, excuse me. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, one thing I've read, and this is just, whether your birds of prey and X amount are killed every year, when you throw off something like the bird of prey you know, the whole ecosystem changes. The rodent population goes up, another predator moves in and becomes, you know, the next thing you know, the deer and turkey are gone. Like, it's just, I don't know what changes there'll be. I'm just saying the impacts are significant, especially on a community that relies on the wildlife, we enjoy hunting, and it's all gonna change. Like, it really has a big impact, and a lot of it is we don't even know, and we won't know until it's too late.
You talk about visibility. You'll be able to see these things from Skyline Drive up into Maryland from Wood.
Yeah.
You can see the ones on the on Mount Storm from Warfield, right? On a clear day, you can see them.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news, right? So, one of the unfortunate things is what he brought up before is data centers, right? So Virginia is already, Prince William County just approved a 1,000-acre lot. It's 100 data centers. It's tons of megawatts of power. In my opinion, the damage is done, right? So we've already approved these things. Unfortunately, a lot of things are in play, right? So we started this conversation with a Facebook page. We are now looking at a Google map. I think collectively we've all pretty much come, reliant on data, right? So data is going to require power. So I think we have to look at ourselves and look at what are we willing to do to reduce our power consumptions if it's not using data, if it's getting energy efficient appliances. Like, I mean, there's a whole lot of moving parts. It's not just, we have to look at nuclear power as an alternative. I mean, there is other things in play than, unfortunately, in our view of a mountain.
Right.
So I mean, those are things we have to think about.
Would it be fair to say that this is not really probably a solution for that? I mean, these turbines, I mean, is this about a solution for that, or is this about the revenue that's gonna be received off of it? Because my understanding, very basic understanding, is that it's unstable. Mark has made the point that our turbines up here are really the solution for our energy needs.
It's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid.
But it's a national conversation.
Sure,
way outside
no doubt,
no doubt. This neighborhood, because I mean, like, nuclear power is the only way that we can have a sustained grid that's safe. But nobody wants to hear nuclear, because nuclear has got a very.
I won't argue that at all. I guess what we're arguing is that even if it were a solution, no industrial scale project like this, in my opinion, should happen in people's backyards and in their communities, because that's where this is going. This isn't the desert, this isn't the offshore, this is literally our backyards. So that's our objection in more immediate terms. We're big consumers of data. I understand that. I get that. All those points. I mean, but our objection is still very local and it's this project. There's a bigger conversation to have. No doubt. Yeah.
Because like his analogy of a water trough is perfect. But I think we need to make sure that people that are taking out of that water trough are using the water the way they're supposed to, in a very, what's your maintenance records? Like, I mean, that's the whole, again, I mean, we're talking way outside of this conversation, but, deregulation has caused a lot of issues in other states as far as like Texas. You look at Texas, they can't even have an ice storm without taking out their grid, right? And that costs a lot of money for the residents that people have saved that those residents will never get, right? So all these things are great for helping the national cause, but it'll never trickle down to us.
Right.
But, again, we definitely have to turn around and look at ourselves and say, what can we do to reduce that need for those big data projects, telecommunication stuff. I mean, the little blinking light on top of the windmills, terrible, but they're gonna be building cellular towers right next to them, I can promise you that. So, I mean, that's just gonna be the beginning of it. But everybody has devices,
So how do we capitalize on this attention and this group that's together? I think probably very, very strongly interested in pulling in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we go out from here, you know, it would be great if we had a couple of, you know, action points to take away from this and move forward. So everybody has a part to play.
Yeah.
If you're sending an email, or you're calling a commissioner, trying to set up another meeting in the not too distant future, so we can get an update and give us time to gather more information.
Yeah. I can't have you leave here with much more than we've already presented.
You've done great.
But we will follow up, and how we follow up, we're going to discuss. First is going to post all this information. I don't know, how many people here on Facebook? I mean, it's mostly, but, so I don't know if it's the platform. It probably won't be. It is an easy one. But we'll see. More of that to come, you know. What I didn't want to do is, you know, didn't have a lot of time to prepare, but I didn't want to wait because when we hit the holidays, and then we would be in mid-January. So more of that to come, and what I'm going to look for definitely is, and you can reach out to me personally, is like, especially if you're local and you're able to meet more often. I think the face-to-face time is critical. So if there are people that are able to meet more often, or if it's a monthly meeting or whatever, we can get together and kind of have a little action committee that is going to go forward. I would welcome that help from anyone who's interested. So I don't know how that we'll do that yet. It kind of depends a lot on what, you know, I didn't know how this would be received, how many people care or how many people don't. I know if there'd be 5 people here, if there'd be 100 people here. So going forward, I think we have enough help here and support. But the first thing is also just getting the information that we don't have. And that's going to, I think, take a lot of work in itself.
What I'm looking forward to is a contact list of the people who could influence the outcome.
Yes.
And being able to get in touch with them.
Okay.
You know,
Yep.
and maybe help compile that.
Yep. Okay. Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm not missing something on your part. You're saying that this can't stand alone, it has to have a backup, which means it's doubled up. And I want to make sure I'm getting this, that in my mind, this makes no sense. I know the state of Virginia, like 0.5% of its energy comes from wind power. The majority of it is from nuclear, and the number one is natural gas in Virginia. So, and the only wind farm in Virginia is an offshore that I know of.
Right.
And we're gonna do all this for a system that we're talking about less than 1% that can't stand alone anyway. To me, it highly seems illogical to do it.
We could have a long discussion. I'll say this. Well, I hate to extend this, but PJM, our grid system, you know, again, 13 states ranging from North Carolina, Virginia, New Jersey, all the way to parts of Michigan and so on. It's the largest grid system, integrated grid system in the United States. They made a presentation to the West Virginia Legislature's Joint Committee, that is House and Senate Committee on Energy and Manufacturing, earlier this week. And I had some of the slides in my presentation, I just didn't show them, but one of the things they showed is that used to be there would be 200 in the PJM queue. So any power plant or any utility that wants to put power on the grid has to get PJM's permission, of course. So that queue of those projects used to be, 200 or so projects. And they were natural gas, maybe coal, so on. Now, that queue is almost 1,300, well, like 1,250 projects or so. And there's just a few natural gas plants. The rest are wind, or primarily solar, wind, and batteries. So our grid system is facing a big problem here. But that's a bigger issue. But this stuff, the unreason and the craziness about this is just, it's inexplicable. And these are the grid. They're responsible primarily for the reliability of your electric power, PJM is. And they're not on the job. This is even conscionable.
Is there a way we can get like sample letters? I know when I write a letter, I sometimes don't know exactly what I'm talking. I mean, I know what I'm hearing, but to actually put it into words that make sense, that has somebody listening to me and not.
Sarah's volunteered for that.
Sample letters.
She reviews all my
really
stuff.
great.
Sarah's gonna be the foreign letter.
Yeah, we're gonna, yes, I think that is, something we're gonna, be part of this, yeah.
She has nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Email those to us.
She's volunteered, signed.
See if anybody wants to be part of the, like, an action committee or something.
Yeah, so I mean, to that again, I'm definitely looking out, we can talk after, you can raise your hand, however you wanna do it, you can contact me on Facebook, but I'm definitely looking for, a group of people that wanna just be part of this. I'm gonna call an action committee, to have something better to call it, just moving forward, so, reach out to me, and then we'll just get organized. Between all our backgrounds, I think we can cover a lot of what needs to be covered, and we got a lot of power here, so.
A lot of power.